Hi creatives! Welcome to my channel. My name is Linda. This is the best place for lifelong learners, self-development enthusiasts, and mindset changers. So today we are going to talk about constantly working on yourself. The reason you want to constantly work on yourself is because life is a self-growth journey. For a long time, I didn't believe that either. I thought I did all the growing I ever needed, and at the same time, I was on a journey of being the happiest I can ever be, and for a long time, I thought that was impossible. I thought it just wasn't a thing until, I started living it, and it's been so much more peaceful, nicer, and just less drama even though my life is still full of drama for some reason. So the reason you would want to just be constantly growing and working on yourself is so that you're constantly growing as a person. So a way that you can actually grow would be through self-development books, researching on the internet, having some mentors to help you, just advise you and help you throughout your journey, and some podcasts. So some of the stuff is actually like reading is really hard for me, and sometimes podcasts might even be hard for me because it's just sit down, be quiet, do this kind of way. So I do a lot of just sitting on the computer doing a lot of research to figure out the best way to do something, and that has really helped me in trying to grow who I am. I would do validation. I learned a lot about validation through just searching through the internet and figuring out the best way to actually teach myself how to validate myself better, because I'm not very good at validating myself. I won't listen to my validation. So it's been a really hard journey of figuring out that I can't validate myself and learning to validate myself. So another question is, in what ways has working on yourself been most helpful? So I would say self-reflection. I would say this is a constant struggle in my life, because every few days, if I haven't checked in with myself, I feel like something's missing. So throughout the few days, I would just try to come back to me and figure out what's going on, and just thinking through what has happened and reflecting on what's been happening, how did I feel about something, and how did this thing go, and did I like it, did I not like it, and stuff like that. So another thing that has been really hard for me is just being boggled down by other people's opinions. And because of me being boggled down by other people's opinions, because of the culture I grew up in, where it was like a groupthink community where if you didn't think a certain way, then it was going to be a harder life for you. So in that kind of culture environment, it's really hard to try to have your own thinking. So because of that, I have had to grow out of it. I had to acknowledge it and then make sure that I knew when it was happening, and then figure out the best way to change it. So it takes me a little bit longer to actually realize oh my gosh, this person's opinion really mattered, and it's making me sway my decision in a certain way. And because of that, and this comes back to the self-reflection part, where I have to come back to myself and think, hey, is this a me decision, or is this a decision someone else told me was the best decision? And do I think this is the best decision? Is this what I really want? And just figuring that out has really helped me. So one thing that has really helped me combat other people's opinions is just, constantly reflecting. So another question is, how do you work on yourself if you don't even know who you are? So a way that you want to actually know who you are would be to figure out your hobbies. So like different things that you like to do, sewing, guitar, flute, whatever you like to do. And then figuring out like your values. Like, what do you value? Do you value money? Do you value the lifestyle? Do you value happiness? And then some of your beliefs, like political beliefs, just what you think of what human rights should and shouldn't be. Something else that I would say is just limits. In this case, it's like boundary limits. So something that I had to learn throughout my time of self-developing myself was just, what are my limits to someone being mean to me? And I realized, like, if this person was really being mean to me, I need to like decide to cut them out of my life or figure out like the best way to go about the situation, because I know that these people matter a lot to me. And at the same time, if they're toxic, then like them mattering a lot to me doesn't really help me, because they're toxic to me, and every time I like interact with them, it's toxic. So it's really hard for me to grow, like being in a toxic environment like that. So another question I have is, how do I work on myself constantly if I don't even know where to start? So something that I would say to do is ask yourself, where do you start to work on yourself? Like, where do you think you need to work on? So some things that I felt like I needed to work on recently has been like validation, listening to myself, and listening to others better. And also just like acknowledging that something's happening. So because I am really good at avoiding things. So when I don't acknowledge something, I think it's not there, but it's obviously there. So like by acknowledging it and actually realizing like, oh my gosh, I'm scared, or like I feel a certain type of way towards this thing, it just makes me feel like better. It makes me feel like, oh my gosh, okay, this is something I need to tackle. So something you could do also is ask yourself what routines you like. So like, do you like waking up early in the morning? Do you like sleeping late at night? Do you like playing lots of games? What's your self-care? What's something you like to consistently put into your schedule? Just little things to help you just keep intact, like keep sane. Just to figure out like the best way to help you stay like you. How do you figure out and also like figuring out what you truly want? That's actually been really hard for me to figure out like what I truly want, because it's just been like a lot of mind-boggling things where people like tell me their opinions and I put their opinions into mine and kind of like do them, because I feel like their opinions are my opinions at some point. So just realizing that and realizing like, oh, this opinion isn't really mine, so I need to let it go. And actually something about constantly growing is I had to let a lot of stuff go. And that's also like the idea of ascending, where you have to decide where you kill off, like suicide, pesticide, like it's all side, where it's the idea of killing off something. So you have to like kill off ideas of just things that are toxic to you, things that aren't really helping you grow as much as you like. So some stuff that has really helped me constantly grow is just repetition. Like, I would work on inner validation, and something I noticed that has been really hard for me is just like constantly repeating the method of like, hey, what do you think you need right now? Because when something you don't notice is like when you ask yourself, what do you need right now? And you answer it yourself, it's really helpful in realizing, oh my gosh, that's what I need. And you tell yourself that. And because of the part that you tell yourself that, yes, it won't work the best right now. Like, someone else's validation might work better for you in this case, like in my case. And also, like, as you keep working on it, as you keep like getting better and better and reworking your brain into like realizing like your opinion matters, that's when you realize like the repetition really helps. So something else that to help you self-grow is meditation. So just sitting in a space and thinking, letting all the thoughts just free flow into your mind and think about all the stuff that has happened to you and like things to figure out. Self-reflection is kind of like meditation and kind of not at the same time. So self-reflection in my interpretation is like reflecting on just like past things and just figuring out like what you want and what you like and how to get there and stuff like that. It's like figuring out yourself. So they're kind of similar in the sense that like you're trying to figure out yourself, but self-reflection in my sense is like asking yourself questions about what you actually want. So like I would ask myself, hey, why aren't you doing this? Hey, why are you doing that? Hey, why is this happening? And stuff like that. Also, something that I want you to remember is that everything is a choice. The time you wake up, the time you go to bed, the time you brush your teeth, the time you eat, how many times you eat, and just like what work you do, what kind of work to do, and like how you do certain things. Like, these are all your choices. So for a long time, I didn't realize I had so many choices. And I was just stuck in a loop of thinking like, oh, there's nothing I can do in life. And that's totally not true. Like, if you want to recycle, you can do it. Like, you can make your own small impact on the world. And there's like little things like that, like helping like children in Africa get better access to water. Like, you can donate money to that and make your small impact. And even though it doesn't make the biggest impact on several people, it makes an impact. And that's what matters. So, yep, that is it for now. Thank you so much for listening. Bye, creatives.